Since the beginning of time, man has loved to talk.
And more than that, he's liked to hear himself talk and have others hear.
From this desire naturally came the birth of the story and the storyteller, and God saw that it was good.
So good, in fact, he created a book who would fill its pages with stories that would be otherwise unwritten.
To allow this book to reach the far ends of the earth, God gave him majestic wings, and he could travel the earth with ease. The mission of this book was to preserve stories that would be otherwise unwritten, and to share them with people forever.
I saw and heard the most amazing tales of nations conquering nations, passed down from grandfathers to grandchildren.
And as our people began to cross the river, we saw a vast army waiting for us on the other side. With one loud voice we shouted, "We will conquer!" and pushed farther ahead undeterred. Men, women, children, animals, we were all united in our determination, fighting as one. And we saw the army fall before us, and the land became ours.
Bedtime stories.
But the princess could see no way out of the castle, for each of the doors and windows were shut tight. Just when she thought she'd be locked in there forever, a bright light shone down on her, and she discovered that the roof was open to the sky. How will I ever make my way up so high, she thought.
Even love stories.
We've been together for so long. I can't imagine my life without you.
Yes, of course.
These stories were delicious, and I ate them up with delight, recording them in my pages as the years went by.
And by.
And by.
And by.
Thousands and thousands of them over the years. I collected and stored them in all of my pages. I would spend my nights poring over them and loving them all, understanding them like no one else could. No one would be able to love these stories like me. It would break me up inside if someone were to hear these stories and not love them. So, to keep them safe, I hid them away from the rest of the world.
But his pages became heavier with the words.
And soon he could not fly, despite his majestic wings.
Instead, he walked throughout the earth, roaming from here to there, listening,
Collecting. Recording.
Stories.
Keeping.
all the stories he heard.
Loving them all more than anyone else could ever love them. But it was getting harder and harder for me to travel across the earth. It was actually getting harder for me to walk. I felt heavier, as if someone inside of me was filling me up inside with lead.
And the years went by.
And by.
And by. Until the book could no longer move.
I could no longer move, let alone travel around the world and gather my stories. So I had to glean the stories off of other people that I encountered. But on my way, I found that people began to do what I was doing, writing down their thoughts, writing stories, writing books.
And the years went by.
Over the years, people found a way to print these stories over and over again, repeatedly with ease, giving away their precious stories.
And by.
Then there were talking pictures, masking the tales behind the faces of pretty people.
And by.
Then there were these contraptions that you would talk into instead of to one another.
And by.
And soon, all you had to do was push a button and click, click. Some letters and words appeared, and people thought that you could understand them this way.
And
by.
There was a spell upon the people. They walked around in darkness, not seeing one another, just looking at the machines, looking down. People do not see one another.
But they did not see one another.
Lost and lonely. They searched for something, anything, to fill the void left inside.
Lost and lonely with people all around them.
Lost and lonely, with people all around me.
He thought to tell his stories to the people. Perhaps that would break the spell.
No, I cannot risk that. They are my precious stories.
Listen to the words you have spoken.
Take your own advice.
Share your stories, share yourself.
No, I can't risk that.
Try.
But what if?
Try.
Little girl. Little girl.
Who's that?
Over here. Back here.
You can talk?
Well, yes.
I've never seen a talking statue before.
Really? Neither have I. Do you know one?
Well, you're one.
Me? I beg your pardon. I am a majestic book with wings.
Well, yeah. You're a statue of a book with wings.
I never thought of myself that way. Wait, where are you going?
I'm going to go play.
No, stay. Please. It's been so long since I've talked to anyone. Forgotten what it's like to have a friend.
But it's boring just sitting here.
Well, if you stay, I can tell you stories.
Stories? I love stories.
You do?
Well, yeah, who doesn't?
Well, I don't know. All right, sit down and I will begin. Once upon a time, God created a majestic book with wings, whose mission it was to preserve the stories for future generations. But this book became greedy with his stories, and he wouldn't share them. So he became heavier and heavier to where he couldn't move at all. It was frozen in one space for many, many years.
And his sorrow grew as he watched the people around him lose their love for unwritten stories and lose their connections with one another. Only by seeing what he was keeping from the world did he come to understand why God had given him his mission.
So he began to share.
And share.
And share.
And share.
And share.
Until he had told the girl almost every story he knew.
And then, before long, he was again able to fly.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Not just for listening to me, but for giving me hope. I thought that humans wouldn't be able to understand my stories. But you proved me wrong. Thank you.
I guess that means we'll be going now, huh?
Well, yes. Now that I can fly again, I must continue my mission. But you can help me.
Again?
Yes. You've heard some of my stories. Now you can spread them around to the people around here.
Really? That would be amazing. But no one will listen to me.
No, you cannot do that. Don't make my mistake. Just try to tell the stories. There's somewhere, someone will listen.
And others will follow.
And others.
And others still.
They'll come from miles around to hear my stories. No, not my stories. Our stories.
Ours?
Yours. They're both of yours now.
Thank you.
Goodbye, child. Thank you for everything you've done for me.
They'll see each other again someday. And when that day comes, they will travel the world together to spread their